We are in the code again today. Morning, morning, morning. Yesterday we had a nice break from coding. Played a new game for a little while. Isles of Sea and Sky. A little block pushing game. Today we're gonna dive back into our code base here, and what we're looking at is Visual Studio. And on Monday, I was partway through a bug. And the bug is that you can clip out of bounds. And clipping out of bounds is actually not too difficult depending on the placement of the blocks. So we're going to show the bug first, and then we're going to come up with a solution, which we almost got to on Monday. So we're going to run the game. Sound less. Okay, let's go ahead and show it. It's over here, I believe. Okay. So here's the game, Switchball Deluxe. And the instance we're looking at is hydropower. Now in hydropower world, you have moving bricks. Moving blocks, whatever you want to call them. So there's the out of bounds here. This pipe is a bunch of invisible blocks. And if you get hit out of bounds, basically the game breaks. So there is a stop to gameplay. You can restart. But basically, we want to make it impossible to clip out of bounds. And the way that you clip out of bounds is via these moving bricks. So we already made improvements such that you're always going to be clipping to the middle of the screen, which is great. And it's seeking empty space whenever it clips. So the first empty space that it finds, it's going to clip to that empty space, either vertically or horizontally if you're moving left to right. But here we're moving vertically, which is the default movement. I'm not doing anything. You just move left to right. You see the controls on the left. So what happens if you don't have any vertical space, or you have very little vertical space? So what we can do is we're going to restart the level here. And we're going to add a couple more platforms. Like this. So now you have very little vertical space to move. So let's go ahead and start it. And let's just have a color here just to show a trail. So now when I clip through, the game crashes. And why is that true? Because there's an infinite loop right now going on in a while loop. I am trying to go up here and find a space within here for the position. It can't find space in the position, and because it doesn't want to leave this rectangle boundary that we set, it's going back down and says, well, maybe we'll go down and find position. It doesn't find any position over here, and it's just ping-ponging back and forth. So what we need to do as our update, which I think I mentioned at the end of stream on Monday, is essentially after it's done attempting to find a loop of vertical position for a clip, we want to then look horizontally for position for a clip. So basically, is there any horizontal space within this rectangle that we can move left or right to find open space? And here you see there's a ton. And every level there will be open space. There's never going to be a level where there's no open space. So that's what we need to do, is fix the code so that after it attempts to move us up and down to find this vertical space, if that fails, we need to be moved horizontally. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and stop the code, or stop the game. And this is the method that we're in. It's a pretty simple clipping method. Where here, it says if at any point in time we have exited our collision, we set in a Boolean value for exiting, and that we are no longer intersecting any boxes, then we're out. So we have an original position. This tells us the original direction to go, whether it's right or left or down or up. And then what we have right down here is we have our rectangle play area. We're actually not using these, so you can ignore that. The play area is that space, the rectangle that's in the middle of the screen. It's static. And this is what we have. We say, hey, if you're going right and you don't intersect the play area, so at some point in time, if you keep going right and you're attempting to leave, turn back. Same for up and down. And every time we're moving a little bit further right or left or up, down, depending on whether the ball is inherently moving up, down, or left, right. And that has to do with whether the quote-unquote gravity is rotated left, right, or up, down. So I don't think this update is going to be that hard, to be honest. So what we're going to do, Scooby-Doo, is say once we have done a cycle. So basically, if we've done both up and down, or if we've done both right and left, then we are going to attempt to go up, down if we've done this, or left, right if we've done this. So what we need to do is we need to set a couple new variables up here that we can use within our method. So we're going to do something like has attempted left or right, left. And then we'll do one for here. Has attempted up, down. And we're going to use these. So here, we actually need to know both, actually. We need to know has attempted right. Has attempted left. Has attempted up. And has attempted down. So here are new variables to say whether we've attempted to do this thing. Because if we've attempted to already do both, we don't want to keep cycling through them. We want to try the new thing. So here, go right. If at some point in time we are saying we're done going right, and we're swapping, we're going to say we've already attempted to go right. So what we're going to do is say has attempted right equals true. Here, same thing. If we've attempted to go left, we're going to say has attempted left equals true. And then the same for up, down. Has attempted up equal true. And this one will say has attempted down. True. All right, so we have our new booleans that are being set to say, hey, we've attempted to go right and we're swapping back left. And now we have some extra data that we can go off of. So now say we're done going right, we're done going left. And what we're going to say is before we even go back in here and swap again, we're going to check first is if has attempted left and has attempted right. So at this point in time, we've already attempted to clip out either left or right, and they both have failed. We're just swapping back and forth because there's no empty space for the ball to go. We are going to do something new. And we'll just put an else here. And then we're going to do the same thing for up and down. They're just separate. So at this point in time, we're going to say, well, we haven't been able to get out this way. Now let's try to get out this way. And for that, I think what we're going to do is we have a couple different options. Here we're only moving X and Y depending on the rotation of gravity. We could just say here either. Actually, I think that's easier. Here we could say, well, instead of just using gravity and controls to determine whether we're going right or whether we're going left, we could say, hey, why don't we just use this? So what if I just took this and said, hey, if I'm done going left and right, now I want to go up, down. I want to do this. So I'm just going to make this an or statement, and we can split this out to make it a little easier to see. So I'm going to say, hey, if this or that or this, and we want to put that in parentheses too. So I'll zoom out a little bit. So here now we're saying, hey, either you've rotated gravity controls, or if you've already attempted left and right, why don't you attempt to go up, down? And we can do the same thing for the movement X. So we are going to grab these. And go like that. And just say has attempted up, has attempted down. And then instead of putting kind of just like a nothing burger if, we could do this. And not this. Actually, no. If that. There we go. So if you haven't done both of them, go ahead and try them. And we're going to do the same for the others, for down and up. these and down. Okay. I think we're set. So now we have a check for up, down, left, right. And if at some point you've attempted both of those, they're going to start moving in that direction. Let's try it. This will surely work on the very first try. Just kidding. There were some tries before this. Alright, I gotta hide BS. Okay, so here's the game. Let's go to the level for which we are testing this. Okay, so these are going to be moving. So first, before I do anything, let's test the base to make sure that the base... we haven't broken the base functionality. So we're not the same color. If we were the same color, it would destroy the bricks like this. Like, boop, 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 boop. However, if we're not the same color, we're going to clip through. It's going towards the middle of the screen. Great, that's working great. So it looks like the base functionality is still working, which is what I would expect. So let's go ahead and restart. Now what we're going to do is add more bricks here, like before, and see if we're going to now clip left, right. Like we are hoping. So. Ah, worked! Magic! Alright, so it's going to attempt to clip up and down. And that time it worked because there was some space. And look at that! Clip to the right. Now this is going to be even more apparent if we put even more of these in. Alright, now let's really fill it up and try to get back in there. Beautiful. Oh, that was really cool. Alright, so I'm going to slow this down by frame. So I'm just going to pull up. There's a, in the game I also have, you know, a command prompt, like a putting commands. Here, I can just go frame by pulling it up. So we're getting squished. And then... wow, that happened really fast. You can see the trail of the animation that trails behind him. He went down here. He didn't find any space, so then he moved to the right. It's working. We're not going out of bounds. That's really cool. All right, so now we have to test to make sure that left-right works as well. And I think there's another level I can do that. I think house, maybe? Home? That's it. So home, this level, there's a bunch of bricks rotating around this one middle area that looks like a home. So if you're playing the level normally, you're trying to get the colors, and as with Switch Ball, you're trying to destroy all the bricks. You're supposed to do it quickly. The whole point of the game is like speedrunning, where you're trying to do it as quickly as possible, and there's ranks for how quickly you do it. But what we want to do is we want to switch this up so we're moving left to right, and then I want to squish myself with some of these. So we're just going to do a quick ad hoc change to the level. And why don't we just add way more bricks here? Doesn't matter what they are. And we'll just put them on a platform. Just fill it up. Then what we're going to do is put a rotation brick here. And now we'll be moving left to right instead. And this is the test that the other kind of clipping also works. Okay. So now you can see we're moving left to right instead of up down. You can see the controls on the left also changed. Alright, so now we're going to go in here and see if... So the clipping's already working. And this is going to be the test. Does it move us out? Where are we? I mean, it's not allowing us to escape, but I think what it was trying to do was going up. It's not allowed to go up. Why didn't it go down? Alright, it's not quite working. I think what it's doing is it's trying to make us go this away towards the timer. And it's really failing, and it's trying so hard. All it needs to do is go down like a little bit. And that's kind of what we saw here. Is we saw we were always clipping to the right. Now, if we didn't have any room to the right, I bet it would do the same thing. So let's test that out really quick. We'll fill this thing up like we did before. And then we're just going to fill up the space over here to the right and see what happens. Now, in game, this would never actually be a game state. Like, I'm not going to design... No levels are designed such that this is actually the way that the level works. But, you know. That's not the point. The point is to get it right. Alright, so we're filling the whole space. And now we're going to see if it breaks. Because we are going to have to change the method. Oh, there's a little bit of space over there. Let's see if we can get over there. Alright, let's see what happens. It clipped us to the right. It found space over here. Look, we're stuck. Okay. That's interesting. Alright, let's stop this. We're gonna need to update the code. Alright. So what we're doing here is we are choosing one direction to go. And we are like forcing that direction. We're not doing this having to go right and then left. Which is interesting. I thought it would. So let's see what we're doing. We have here, say we've attempted to go up and down. And now we're going to say, well, why don't we go right? Now it's attempting to go right, or it's attempting to go up. It's not attempting to go left when we're going up, down. And it's not attempting to go down when we're going left, right. Let's check what we're originally setting. Oh, this all has to do with our original position. So the rectangle is right here. It's a 384 by 224 rectangle, and it's 128 over and 96 down. Because y direction is positive down in Monogame and in most, I would say in most video game matrices or coordinate planes. So it starts off with an original position, and based off of the original position, it's attempting to go right or left, and it's trying to head towards the center of the rectangle. So if I start off at the very top or the very bottom, it's going to be attempting to go towards the middle. The same as if I started off on the left or right of either the midpoint of the rectangle. So what we're seeing is based off of where we were clipping, it was attempting to always go up or down. Um, and that's interesting. So maybe, how do I want to do this? Like if go right fails, it's gonna be doing. We might need to put in an additional check. Or just stare at the screen blankly. We had a plan. It works some of the time. I'm surprised this didn't work. My original position was less than 200. Why didn't it go down instead of up? When I was ping-pong at the top, why didn't it go down? I would have expected this to be true. And then if that was true, it would have kept moving my position down. Why didn't that work? That was weird. Could put a breakpoint in here to make sure that what I expect to be true here about our original position. What else could we do? I think I do want to put a breakpoint in there. Because it's tempting to go like this, and maybe it's stuck. And maybe it gets out really, really briefly and escapes the while loop. And then it hits it again, and then really, really briefly gets out and hits it again. It's possible. Let me double check this. If not that, or that. Yeah, I think we want to check this. Just to make sure these are being set correctly. From when we're clipped the other way. We're kind of at a point too where I think all actual use cases are covered. But unforeseen use cases might not be covered. Alright. Let's find a different one to do. It's a feature. How about Nah, that doesn't have enough. We'll just do the one that we're at. Home. And I'm going to simplify this. Just delete these. Gonna put end. Is this the end? End. We're not going to save this, of course, because we don't want to overwrite the level itself. And one of these. And what we're going to do is make sure we have a breakpoint. I think we did put a breakpoint, did we? We did not. I want to see what the breakpoint is when we start clipping. And making sure that all these are being set as expected. So if I would expect it to say go down. That's the big one. So let's try this out. Just run a clip. And hit our breakpoint. Go up, false. Go down, true. Go left should be true, and go right is false. Good. So that's being set as I expected. I want to see if once it's attempted both, I want to see this. Gotta hide VS again. So let's see what's happening here. What's interesting here is it's not hitting, it's not having gone left and right. I think it's finding an empty spot within these blocks. What is going on? Like it's here. It's completely full. Why isn't it going down? Bro. Alright, I'm gonna put these in there. Bro. Wait, am I not clipped? Why is my breakpoint stopping it? What? Okay. All right. What? I'm totally clipping right now. All right, we're gonna put this in there. Maybe? Oops. As his voice goes higher and higher. Good. What? I'm currently not oh. I am intersecting the play area. Right. So it's attempting to find an empty space. Good. And it's completely failing. All right, let's see when we get out of the while loop. So the end of the while loop is right. I have so much commented out. Don't do this. If you're working with other people, don't do that. All right, what's my current boundary X? 217. $321. So it escaped the while loop because we exited our collision. because none of the boxes are actually intersecting the boundary at that point. And the boxes, I mean, there's... What? How are there 4,000? Is that 4,000 boxes? What? That's not good. It's not even close to that many collision boxes. Guys, we are getting way, way, way more, too, than I expected. Okay, let's get out of here. So it eventually does get out. Why isn't it just clipping to the left? Vertical works. And why are there 4,000 boxes? Let's go. So I can't move when I'm inside. Like I'm stuck. And then eventually it gets out. That's really weird. Alright, two things. One, this, which again, I'm hiding because I'm an idiot. So here, I can't move when I'm in. It might have something to do with that these are color bricks and not like these are trying to change my color rather than them being the other type. I'm gonna attempt to do something on the fly here. This is gonna look weird. It's gonna reset the level every time I delete something. Alright, we're gonna re-add the... Alright, let's see if this makes any difference. It does not. Good. I mean, you can see it a little bit clearer what's going on. It attempts to get... right here. Why does it stop? I'm gonna put this here. Go right is true. It's like it went halfway. It didn't, like, make it all the way. It said it escaped. Alright, we're gonna see when this happens. When does exit collision happen? Okay, it's not doing it at all. Thanks, bud. So it's never... What? Just keep pressing. Remember how confident I was at the beginning? It's escaping the while loop, which basically means... Is it even going in the while loop? Every time. It is. So after the movement, it's saying no boxes. 63. Am I not clearing? All right, this is the problem. I think the problem isn't necessarily. There should be not 60. I don't think boxes are being reset. These should be cleared every loop. I'm very concerned. All right, let's figure out this first. All right, so now we're not clipped in. So the very first time we clip in, are we in the thousands? As you can see, there's only like some hundreds on screen. All right, we're back in. 2,400? All right, let's see where this method's being called. Go to find all references. You can't see the little pop-up box, my bad. New clip boxes. New clip boxes. It is a new... Alright. We're trying to move as a player. Our clip boxes are the relative obstacles, which should be relative. Should be only be a few. We have our invisible ones. Wait, this is a... How are there thousands? $5,100? There are only 80 invisible platform boxes. 65 clip boxes. Oh, I'm stupid. So I'm going through every potential one. So this clip box count here, this is done in the player class. It says if an object's clipped, move it to the nearest space it can be fit. Now it's talking about a weapon. This is because the previous code base was using a action platform that had weapons. But in any case, this is getting the relative obstacles. So ones that are relatively close to us. There's 65 relative boxes within the range. Cool, 65. Invisible ones. There are 80 invisible platforms that are near us. Those are the things that are surrounding the area. And what I'm doing here is I'm going through each of the 65 clip boxes. And then for each of those, I'm going and seeing, hey, the potential relative obstacles, are those the same location as the clip boxes? And if they are, I'm adding it. Why am I adding so many of them? Why am I not just doing... I don't... This code is so old. Why don't I just take the potential clip boxes and union the potential invisible boxes and say those are the potential ones that we need to unclip out of? This doesn't make any sense. Why am I doing a for each in a for loop? If the clip box's boundary position is equal to the invisible one and the clip box's boundary position y, so basically if they're not in the exact same spot, add it. But why am I looping through every invisible one? No. This should just be this. Just do clip boxes. Union. The invisible ones. Something like that. Or these not the same thing? What are these? Impenetrable collision boxes. That's a list. Going to like enumerable. One of these is in the list. Oh. Once you do a union, then you have to do two lists again. Okay. That's done. I had never looked to see that there were redundant thousands being checked. Yay! Oh, good job. Okay. So, that's that. That's good. And that was in this method. Get the move position. So, now with that out of the way, we can at least check to make sure that the boxes for clipping are only like, 100 instead of thousands. I don't think it'll change what's happening, but I don't know for sure. So we're gonna try it again. And there might be a point where we sort of move on and see, hey, there's never an actual point in the game where this is happening. Which is like the lazy way, but, we don't have forever to do one bug. Okay, so we're going to go back here. That's solar. We're going to go in hydro. First, this is a simple test to make sure that clipping still works and that I am indeed only getting like 100 boxes. So we'll show Visual Studio here. Look at that, 108. You can't see the overlay, but it says 108. It does not say 4,000 or 6,000 boxes. Fantastic. So, and it's working just like before. Very good. Vertical works great. It's working so good. We'll add a few more here just for a sanity check. Boop, boop, scoop. Up. Very nice, just like before. Clip into the right, easily finds it, and we're good. Okay. Is there any other one I could do here? No. I mean, I could do it really on any level pretty quick. I'm watching you. No, we're not looking at all the levels right now. Alright, we'll just do one here. Now, if we, this Churning Chaos level is a speed level. So I'll show the level what it is first, just to give a sense of it. So essentially you become gold, and you can see they're moving real fast. But you can just go pew 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 pew! And, you know, eventually you get the last couple like that. Whoa! We won! So, what if, though, you were the wrong color? So we need to get in there. Nope. Blue. We got out. Alright, so what we're gonna do is switch all these to be blue. So, I mean, it's happening so fast. So utterly fast. You know what? It's working pretty good. It's working pretty good. We're clipping out. Now, the horizontal one, though, is definitely not working as well. Like, the vertical, working better. Right? It sort of spits you out pretty quick. But when you're horizontal in there, it's doing the weird flip-a-doodle like we were seeing in the house one. Now in this game, you're more often moving up-down than you are left-right. Up-down is the default. Left-right is kind of special. It's for the windmill mechanic, is this rotation. It's the first additional mechanic that's introduced in the game. But we're clipping out, you know. So that's good. There's also one that's called It's a Feature, which basically introduces the idea of clipping. If you somehow don't see it at the beginning, where it's kind of showing the clipping. So you saw there, it was the infinite clip. If I just move right or left, I can get out of it. Even here, it's kind of interesting. So this whole problem introduced by moving blocks is why we have any of this clipping anyway. Now, granted, I'm sure that speedrunners and stuff will be able to take advantage of it. Shoutouts to AGDQ, which is going on right now. But yeah, the horizontal. I don't know how to figure out the horizontal. Oh boy. Let's see. Give it one more try, and then we're going to move on to something else for the next hour. What are we doing different? Is there anything we're doing different? They're all set to false. They're false too. Based on your position, you're doing that. Your original position's there. These aren't even being used anymore. Here's our play area. While you're intersecting any of these, go ahead and try to get out. There used to be an order of operations. Hence all the stuff commented out below. If at any point you're out, go ahead and leave. If at any point somehow you clip out of bounds, this is supposed to turn you around. Otherwise, just go and find a open spot with your new boundary. Interesting. It's pretty straightforward. I'm this close. Just being like, it works like so much of the time. So one of the things that will need to get fixed is occasionally with moving blocks, if you're the right color and you hit something that's the right color and it should explode, it does not. Same if you hit like a color brick that should change your color. Sometimes it does not. That more has to do with collision detection of the method that's looking to see whether you're close enough to a brick than it is with clipping out of anything. But I can't figure it out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a really quick check of all existing levels. So all levels are made right now. They're still being in the process of play tested. But we'll internally play tested. Not quite ready for external play testing yet, but soon. And we're gonna do a very quick check of all the levels to see, are there any instances where you're going left, right, that we saw the really bizarre thing that we artificially created. Granted, at some point in the future, maybe, big maybe, people will be able to make their own levels, in which case, yes, you can crucially break the game, critically break the game in any way you want, where this would fall apart. But we're not thinking about some bonus feature of the game later. Alright, so Hydro is introduced here, and then some later levels also use Hydro as a mechanic. So this is this one, and basically we want to look at ones where we can move left, right. So I'm going to pull up our level list here. It's just an Excel, because that's an easy way to keep track of stuff when you're working on stuff. So we're going to go to our levels. I'm going to scroll up to hydropower. If I scroll to the right, I have which ones use rotation. And one of them was open for business. And the other one was churning chaos, which we just saw. So open for business has the ability to move. And here, there's hardly any moving bricks. So you have the ability to go over here and go left, right, but there's very little clipping potential. We saw for churning chaos that we could get out no matter what. So now let's take a look and see if there's any other levels that use Hydro later on that we need to be aware of. Let's see. So we're gonna scroll a little bit further here. Anything that says moving. So we have these two. These are timing blast, subtle symmetry, migration is fine, wavelength. Yeah, but you would need rotation as well as hydro, which I think can only happen in the final world where you can have any number of mechanics. So let's go to the final world. Spoilers. Let's see, which ones do I have moving and rotation here? Let's see, nope, 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 nope. This one, one. Nope, I only have one. Spin cycle. Let's take a look at spin cycle. It's in the Omega world. Ah. You know, this could happen. I forget this level. Oh, wait, it totally could. Wait a second. Wait. This is exactly what we were looking for. Oh, never mind. Oh, you actually don't clip. You don't clip here, but you could clip in the middle. Wait. So, by the way, the mechanic here is that you're controlling two at once. It's actually really hard to make this happen, but theoretically this could happen. Because the guy in the middle is controlling the color. Oh my gosh. No! I'm trying to clip. I'm trying to clip. Alright, we need to become, cyan. We gotta become cyan first. Alright, let's restart the level. So, we're cyan. Now, I'm gonna get down here. Oh, we escaped. Come on. Alright. Wait. No, don't go down. Horizontal. No. Alright, clip. Come on, get in there. Wait, no. You know, congratulations if you can clip here. Yeah, I mean, theoretically you could clip, but it's hard. It's so hard to maintain the right color or the wrong color, also rotate, and then yeah. It's fine. So what's the moral of the story? Sometimes with coding, you get to the point where you're like, it's fine. It's fine. There's no real world circumstance where this will happen yet. It's definitely improved. The big thing is that you can't get out of bounds, and that in any in-game possibility right now, I don't think there's a place where there's going to be something extremely game-breakingly weird. And I think we're going to move on. Because generally, I stream for about 2 hours a day. So, 1 whole hour was spent on that. Let's move on to a new thing. So we're going to pull this back up. We have our tasks. I think that was one of these bugs. Let's see here. Doot. Come on now. There we go. Nope. What? Oh, this one. On berries level 50, you can clip out of bounds at the top. Yeah, this is fixed. There was a lot more that was done. Hooray. Let's do a new one. Let's see. Do we want to do a feature or a bug? We can start fixing the menu. This is a mix of feature and bug. We ought to fix the menu. I keep hiding the menu because I don't want to show it. All right, so what am I talking about here? So we have the pause menu, which we've seen. That if I click, I'm using keyboard, but you know, it works in controller too. So here's our pause menu. Looks decent, right? Simple menu. Great. There's a couple other menus in the game, like you saw one time, the level complete menu that's been built out. That was brand new. Why don't we just beat the choo-choo train level really quick, and I'll show it again. Dope, 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 dope. The gimmick of here is that you have, these will eventually be fire. These are fire pits, which allow you to go through blocks. These are supposed to be flowers, which are pollinators, which allow you to change the color of surrounding blocks, hence why you saw that change to yellow. But essentially, I'm just going to go in here and become red and destroy all the blocks. Not doing it fast, but whatever. So UI in video games takes more time than I anticipated when I first started developing. Sometimes you're like, oh, it's just UI. It's like easy. Well, not really. So here we go. Very simple selection. We have next level, restart level, adventure menu, main menu. We're displaying a lot of variable information here depending on what your rank is. These ranks aren't actually set for choo-choo. These are kind of default. And here's my level time. Got a rank of D. Loser. And I can go back to the main menu. Why don't we do that? So here's the main menu. Here's Switchblade with the one animation that I have for him right now. Eventually he'll be much more personable. If we go to options, this is what we got. Ooh. Now you can see it works over here. You can see what's being selected. So the first thing obviously is that this rectangle's wrong. And if we go into the audio, which I've been updating to turn off the music, you can see this is all wrong, right? You can see the visually it's wrong, but you see it's actually working. If you go into the controls for keyboard and gamepad, you can see these are all working, that I can move, but the icons are wrong. You can see there's also a ton more things like weapon slots. This is from the previous game. Same for the gamepad. You can see all the weapon slots and things are wrong. Now, how is this so off? The reason this is so off is that when I switched from the previous game, Blister Blight, to this game, Switchball Deluxe, I changed the dimensions of the graphics. So all the graphics changed. And I think they became bigger. I think it's a higher resolution overall. So in so doing, all the menus broke because so many of the menus were based off of views that were expecting certain dimensions. The text and the icons also are displayed in different ways. So displaying text at a certain position on the screen is somewhat dynamic based off of how large the text is and where it's put, whereas icons are different. So in order to fix these menus, one, all of these extra, all of the extra controls are going to get removed. There are no weapon slots in Switchball. Half of these things, like there's no jump, there's no inventory menu, you know, all these things need to get removed. And then the simple thing is, the simpler thing is not only do they need to get it removed, but this should be centered on screen, basic menu, just look correct. So why don't we work on this, because this has been gross and annoying for a while. So there's the visual components, and then there's the actual functional components of removing a lot of these controls. And there's even a reset to default. So like, let's see, I can like change this stuff. Let's see if, can I change these to like Q? Enter. Oh wait, if I change enter to like say shift. Now I have to click shift. Wait, does shift work? Is that up? Oh, yeah, now shift works to do the stuff. I made it so you can literally do anything. Backspace. Now in order to this, enter doesn't work to click the back button. I have to click shift. How about we click and close? So we're gonna work on that for the next, I don't know, hour. 45 minutes, hour. So where is that guy located? Let's go on the right. He is over here to the right. Oh, my music stopped. I didn't even realize. My bad. 1 second. Put in a little bit of tune skis. Okay. Menus. And I think it's called options menu. Maybe? Nani? Controls menu? Might be called controls menu. Although I think there's menus within menus, of course. There's a menu handler. Show the menu handler. It's not the pause menu. Well, what we can do, if we want to see what it is, we can go to our core game class. And we'll just see what the menu handler is doing. So you can see, well, we can also do this too. We're on the title screen, right? Which is in itself a menu. So we're gonna go down to past where all the stuff's initiated and loaded. And we're gonna go all the way down. Boop. And here's an options box. And we'll say, hey, when it's actually the right sort order, when it's in use, what happens when you press enter? That's down here. And saying controls menu, toggle the menu. What does that do? Well, it says, hey, it's active, it's on. So it is the controls menu. So it turns it on. And now you're in here. And then within here, we have a few other menus. So I'll scroll to the top really quick and blind you. So here's our controls menu. Here are the different areas that we saw. Home, quit, audio, video, gamepad, keyboard controls. And I'm using an enum to switch between them with a switch statement. We also have some stuff about, like, there could be opening animations and things. Right now it just appears and disappears. And as you are navigating it down here, there's a different menu content state to say, hey, what is being updated as you're working on it. So all this stuff still works. Almost all the updates we're going to be doing are purely visual. So a lot of the stuff in update we're not going to need to change. We're just going to need to change what's being drawn to the screen. So like if I switch this, you can see everything's happening within menu content state, going between them. We can go ahead and minimize these other methods. And then we have our draw. Again, we have our content state, which is deciding, hey, what are we actually drawing? And here's our menu sprite. This is the background sprite, which is also being drawn to the incorrect location. This is a hard-coded location because I was like, well, whatever. It works. Doesn't work anymore. So we can change that pretty easily. I'm actually going to move Visual Studio to my other screen, which is, you're not going to see a difference, but just make sure this looks correct. Yep. And this way I can update and look at the game at the same time. Make it easier for me. So right now we're going to change this, and we can see in real time we can update. So we're going to go to our options menu. First, we're going to turn off the sound. You can leave on the sound effects of us going beep, beep, beep. So I'm going to show that it's running. And actually here we can, let's try to show both on screen at the same time. So we're going to have you. Let's try this. Let's try a little bit of this. Put him down there. Like that. So we're going to do this black box is what we're going to be changing in the background. That's what this rectangle is. So if we click pause, we can do updates as the game is running, which is pretty cool. So say I'm like, well, the rectangle is starting off way too far to the right. We're going to want it centered somewhere on screen. Now I probably need to do some planning before I just randomly move stuff around. But just to show that we can change it, say we're just going to move it to 100 instead. And we click continue. And you can see it moved a little bit, right? You can go back and say we're like, nah, that's not where it's supposed to be. It's way too big. I bet it would be 120 down. And it looks way too wide, right? In a little bit, I'll show you how wide the full dimensions is. But we could say, let's just make it 150 wide. That seems about right. How tall does it need to be? I don't know. 200. And say continue. And you can see we got a nice, cute little menu. Look at that. So there's our rectangle. So what we want to do is figure out how big we actually want this to be, because this will change a little bit depending on what's being displayed here. A little bit. So we can go back. Same here. But again, these icons, everything's going to be smaller. Shrunk down. So what are we dealing with in terms of the position here? So we have this whole screen, right? And this options menu can come into play not only on the title screen, but anywhere. So if I go to, say, the adventure menu, and I click escape, or can I do it from here? Oh, I guess I can't do it from here. Ah, well, you do it here. You can see I'm bringing up the options menu. See how it looks a little bit different? Text is the same, but the rectangle is a little bit different. See how it's smaller? That's something we'll need to think about too, because the resolution here is different than on the title screen. So if we go back to the title screen, go to the main menu, and then go to options. See how it's bigger? Text isn't bigger. Box is bigger. That's interesting. You gotta figure that out. Go back here, click on a level, smaller. And that's the, these are called render targets. So in Monogame, when you're displaying something to the screen, you're choosing a target to render all of the image data to the game. And you could have multiple targets with different resolutions. It's kind of helpful to think of it as like a projector. So if you have, the light of a projector and it's shining on a wall, it's going to create a rectangle depending on how close it is to the wall. And that's kind of a way to think of the images is how much of a rectangle do we want to display these images? And when we're displaying them, in what order are we rendering them? So they're like, you know, overlapping with each other like that. And then how many of them are we doing in each individual render target? So say you have a multiplayer game where you had like a split screen game where you had 4 on the same TV. Those are 4 different, if you're doing a monogame, those would be 4 different render targets, each showing different data and each updating and drawing differently. When we are playing the game here, like the main screen, you can even see there's some overlap with like text and stuff. That's a little bit different. You have a different target that you're looking at, and you can specify the resolution of that to be whatever you want. The core game has a resolution that's just like HD. I think it's 860 over something or other. We can go ahead and look at that. But I'm specifying the dimensions of all these in the game class. So if I show Visual Studio again, move it up a little bit. At the very beginning of the Game 1 class, we have some render targets. Some of these are like 400 by 240, which is a very basic like HD resolution for pixel art. The adventure menu render target is a little bit bigger. You can see it's 640 by 360. And then you see there were different zooms. So in this game, you don't really have a zoom camera, but in the previous game you did. So you can see the zoom render targets were much bigger as you zoomed out to be able to see more of the screen. And you see I even had some other ones here. Again, I don't think these are being used, but a 260 by 40, an 800 by 400, a 672 by 352. So you can specify what you are rendering. And all of these are actually being drawn to at other parts of the code. So what we're dealing with here is, I think we're dealing with a render target for the menu of 400 by 240. We can take a look at that and verify that in the Game 1 class. So the menu handler is handling whether the control menu is happening. So you can see the control menu is here. And the draw is actually not handled here. Each of them are being drawn separately. So I can go down to draw. Just go down really far. And see at the very beginning of the method, we're setting the render target to be the menu. And if need be, we are going to be drawing to our menus. So you can see we have a title screen one, we have the main menu one. If we go down, we can see we have our gauntlet, our save load, loaded screen, all these different menu targets. And eventually we draw all those. And then after that, we're setting our new target. This is called the adventure menu render target. It's just named poorly. And then that is going to render a couple other menus that are of a different resolution. We're going to draw them. And then finally, within the levels themselves, they have their own render targets. So you're kind of swapping out which of these targets you're drawing to. So we are drawing to the controls menu, which is which one? Where is this being drawn? Options. Oh. It's being drawn within the level itself. Why is this the case? Some menus can appear when you're within a level, and some are outside of a level. So like the title screen, you're not in a level. But when we're in the level and we pull up a menu, I'm drawing it within there instead. That's what this is. You can see there's a bunch of different other types of menus that used to be called in the previous game, like your PC and your items and your equip. It's also being drawn here on the title screen. You can see that it says, hey, if it's open, go ahead and draw the controls menu. And down here as well, if it's opened. So our controls menu here for the title screen is going to be drawn at a different dimensions than here in the level, because the level and the title screen have different render targets. That's why one of the boxes is appearing at a different size. That may or may not be problematic. We'll figure it out. So the first thing we want to do is probably just get rid of all the extra stuff before we think about the UI. So probably get rid of all the other controls which are not being used, so then we know how much space we need. Because you kind of want it compact. So it's using less space. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that. I'm going back here. And this is going to be tricky. So we need to define what controls we do and we don't need. In fact, there is a here game controls class in our controls class. And these are all the current controls, many of which are not needed anymore. Some of these might be used somewhere. Rather than remove the controls, I'll probably just remove them from the menu. It's less risky. Unless this is just looping through them. We'll see. But you can see we have a left column and a right column for our keyboard, and a left column and a right column for our gamepad of all of these controls. Bunch of buttons. A bunch of selections. Okay. So we want to look to see both the keyboard. We don't care about home right now, or quit, or audio video. So if selecting control input. So what this is doing is it's allowing you to set whatever you want on the gamepad. So the trick right now is, right now it's only compatible with Xbox. So this is an Xbox, what? I don't know if this is an Xbox One-ish. Afterglow, great controller. Have not tested this on PlayStation or other sorts of controllers you can plug into your Lappy. Everything in XNA and Monogame framework is built on Windows. This will eventually be a game that is also going to be for tablets and phones and stuff. But right now we're thinking about this. So all this control stuff will eventually also, well, that's kind of interesting. You can't really change controls for touchpad. So you don't want to touch over here, you want to touch over here. Have I seen that? I haven't played enough tablet games to be like, oh, no. Maybe you could like move around the space that you touch something. It's very different. But this just allows you to say, hey, what is your input and what is the selection? That's what this whole thing is. And so it goes through all of them. And this is the tricky part, is that this is where we're saying, what's our dictionary? What's our selection of our dictionary? And we have the left and right columns. And it's setting whatever input key to the control that we have via this method, which is a very simple thing of saying this is the control for the button. For left and right. Yeah. It's going through the whole dictionary. It's doing a similar thing for keyboard. This right now is just saying, hey, as you press down and up, it's changing what location you're at. Okay. Similar, if you go left and right, it's changing whether you're in the left dictionary or the right dictionary. Okay. Yep. And then some stuff for the other buttons. And then keyboard is similar, except instead of keyboard, it's using something called get press keys to get your keyboard state, to figure out what your selection is, rather than like going through every possible gamepad button. It's just identifying what did you press. And then it's doing a very similar thing where it's setting the keyboard control to be whatever you press down for left and right, and identifying where you are in the list, and having some other stuff like setting the default controls. So the problem is that if we want to change our dictionary, we might have to change the controls that are in the dictionary or create a custom dictionary. Yes, this is the potential issue. I mean, it's not an issue. I mean, it's an issue. It's a thing we need to change. So we're gonna go all the way back up and see how our dictionaries are made. So let us go down and see how they're made. They're loaded in right here. So it says for each control in our game controls game dictionary sort order, we are adding a new game controls with the key, sprite, and the value. Ah! Where does this come from? Ah. And is this set as well? Let's see. I think so. Scroll down. Set default controls, yes. So at the beginning of the game, when the game loads up, eventually they'll... Oh yeah, that probably needs to be a thing. Saving controls scheme. That's not happening right now. You load the game, the default is loaded. You have to change it every time. That's a bonus feature. So here it's setting the default dictionary for a keyboard for what each of these game controls are. And then it's doing it also for gamepad, setting what each of the controls are and the buttons that are going to trigger it. It then sets the sort order of these guys. The sort order is important for the menu, which we just looked at. So know what is actually the sort order as we're going through them for both the keyboard and the gamepad. And then it's saying, well, whenever we draw a control based off of what the control is and its position, its height and stuff, and whether it's forcing a certain kind of control. I think there's a reason for that, I forget why. It might have been about which is a default, or if you're trying to use both at the same time. It was going and saying, hey, switch whatever control it was based off of the dictionary of the control you're putting in. And then it was going to the sprite sheet and finding the right button to show based off of what you got. Pretty in-depth. And then for the keyboard, keyboard's insane, because I put in a whole keyboard. I allowed you to see any little sprite of all the sprites. You have every single key. Woo! Look at all the keys! Woo! They all have a spot to draw. So, if we were going to change the menu, we need to change this sort order. If we're going to change the sort order, we also need to define and change what the default controls are. So long story short, we do need to change and remove all controls that are not going to be used in the game. Which in this game is most of them. Because in this game, the only things that you do is turbo, which is basically go faster, left, right, up, down, and menu controls. That's it. So we're gonna stop, and I think that's it. So I think we need to remove these guys, or at least remove them from our dictionaries. Like, we don't have to add them to our dictionaries of keyboard and controller. So one of the things I want to do is check to make sure I know what controls are being used, so we don't get a million things that break right away. That would be helpful. Ish. So I wonder if I can see, I mean, I could do a control find on each of these to see where they're being used. Like, for example, I might be using some of these just because they existed. Not because they actually should have been used, just because I did use it. Alright, we're definitely using these. That's a given. We are not using these things for sure. We're gonna do the thing that you can do when you're a solo developer. So I'm mostly a solo developer. There have been other people who have helped out in the project, and the previous one too. Is comment it out. Just so I remember what they were before. Granted, when we do the sort order, we won't comment it out. Enter portal. Up. Not using that. Jump. We are using spacebar. Are we saying it's jump, though? There's no jumping here. Let's see. What is boost? Let's go to the player class. Isn't the player class already boost? Increases the speed. I'm gonna do control find. Boost. I don't think that's actually it. Speed. Oh, it's way more prevalent. There we go. Move speed. Yeah, but there's a button that I gotta press. Check for manual acceleration. Yeah, how about that one? Jump. It's using jump. I knew it. Let's rename jump. We can do that. Jump is now a boost. We're gonna rename this boost. Error performing rename. What? I have literally never seen this before. What do you mean I can't rename it? Error performing rename. Error H result fails been returned. What? I'm not running the game right now. That is bizarre. Okay, so what we're gonna do, let's not show that. I've never seen that before. Boost. Then the game will break. And then we can go to the error list. And then we can just say boost. That's so weird. Paste. Paste. Pasta. Oh, did I not? Hello? Why is shift not working? Where did... Wait, what happened? I pressed the button on my keyboard. When I click left, it's going to, like, the column or something. What? Numlock? No. Look at my key. It's over here. It's over here. What happened? I clicked a button. I don't know what I did. I can't click left or right or up down. I've never done this before. Look, I'm in the menu. What does this button do? Oh, brings up the menu. What does this button do? Oh, that's the Windows button. That's Alt. Alt up. That's a thing I've never done before. Caps lock. Up and down. It's fixed. I don't know what I did. All I know is that I fixed it. Alright, I was gonna have to do some manual. Just a couple manual fixes for all the yumps. It's now boost. Sure. Do a little Control Shift B, see if there's any other ones that exist. Yep. And we're just changing it wherever it exists right now. Just wherever. It's fine. Hey, ha, ho, ho. Hooray! We did it. Back to controls. No. Back to controls. That's the one. It's now boost. You know, screw this. We don't need to use it anymore. Never mind about the commenting out. Left, right, down, boost. Enter and back, definitely used. Pause menu, 100% used. PC menu. This is being used, but not for what you think. So right now I have I. When I press I, it's bringing up the other menu. So technically the inventory menu is being used for the pause menu, whereas the pause menu is really the options menu because nothing makes sense. But these are the two menus, PC and pause. Probably need to rename them. But these are both definitely used. I do not have any tabbing, I think, right now. Tabbing was I had a menu and you could tab left and right within the menu to change menus. I don't think that's being used anywhere now. In the future, it could be used. We're all deleting it together. That's why you have Git. That's why you have repositories and version control. Okay, so we got rid of those. I think this is it. Menu, enter, escape, boost, up, down, left, right. We're good. Get rid of these. Good. Bueno. Okay. So, we got rid of our dictionaries and cleaned them up. These are the actual controls in our puzzle game. We are going to go down. And now we're going to change our sort order. The sort order is directly correlated to our list that we're going to be showing. So we're going to get rid of all these. And then we'll update the sort order. Bah. And now we need to update them. Now it is a little silly that I get that I allow you to change what is enter and exit. But I mean, you mess it up, good luck. There's a reset to default. It's fine. It's like when you take someone's phone and make it a different language. They'll figure it out eventually. Okay. Now, I changed the dictionary sort orders and the dictionary itself. Changed nothing else. Let's see if it magically works and only displays that stuff. Here's hoping. Okay. Show it. Hoppa. 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 We're gonna go to our options menu. First, we turn off the music. You know, I could just reset that right now while streaming. I could just make it 0 by default. We're gonna go to controls. Look at that. Usually only 9 ones. I go up. I can go right. There's like an empty spot below pause, which is kind of weird. But yeah, look at that. Cool. If I go back, go to the gamepad, see the same things. See the buttons over here corresponding to these, and these corresponding to these. Yeah, this thing. It's this. We can go ahead and, I don't know, change left. Generally, yes. left ought to also be something like WASD. Right now it is just left right on the numpad, but say I went here and I said I want this to be A. Oh, this is gamepad. Uh-oh, gamepad's not plugged in. Now we're frozen. But don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Plugged in. Left. A. Oh, wait. Why didn't that work? Now A is left? That's not going to work. It's fine. Alright, we're good. We can go back here. Let's change jump. Oh, it says jump. We know jump is boost. And we can make it like U. Alright, there you go. Jump is U. And if we wanted to reset it, see if it works. Back to space. Pretty cool. What if we made left, right, and right, left, and down, up? Oh, now we're playing with power. And you're like, oops. It reset it. Bueno. What if we try to go to the mystery spot to the right that doesn't get highlighted? And click enter. Nothing happens. Alright, not terrible. Not what we want. What if we added in a dummy control? Just so that we would have an even number of controls. It would really make our lives easier if we had one more control to show so that we could have 10 instead of 9. What about a control that just like makes a happy sound effect happen? It's a happy sound effect control. So whenever you press it, just a random sound effect happens. So it's like boing, whoop, yip, whoop. It's just the happy button. Yep, whoop, uh-oh, you. I don't know. Alright, so we fixed that. We can fix the text really quick too. Just like I showed you before. On this box, we can change the text dynamically. So if I show here, and I go to the controls menu, we can just look for jump. What? Oh, it's actually not here. It's over here. Jump. 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 No. Where is this? It's right there. Jump. Alright, I'll look for enter in parentheses menu. Enter menu. Oh, it's here. It is in controls. To menu string. Okay. So if I go over here, boost is now boost. I think that's it, actually. Click continue. And there we go. Now it says boost. Very cool. We're on our way. But it is 12:30. I think we're gonna stop there. So the rest of this week, this isn't gonna take too long. Basically, I do want to. I did joke. I think I do want another control. So when you're playing it on mobile, you're going to be holding it like this, or a phone like this, and you're going to be able to boost theoretically on either side. I don't think that'll be a different button though. It might just be a different area that triggers the boost control. But I don't really know exactly. Probably we'll put a placeholder in case we want another control, and also to make it symmetric so I don't have to change how all the sort ordering and stuff is working. We'll change this text, so we'll make it compact. So all this will be in here. We'll make the icons so they line up with the text. We'll make the box so it goes around this and it's all centered on screen. And then we'll have to change, theoretically, some of these icons in the box for how it appears on the level screen rather than here. Because again, this is how it's appearing here. But again, if we go to, so the adventure menu, we go assign a level and look at it, it's smaller. But when you open it up, you can see it's even right. Look at, this is what it's supposed to show. Oh, this A button's here. Oh, the A button's the other menu. So you can see here it's showing up correctly because the render target is the same. So when we change stuff, we want to make sure that we're actually only changing it for one render target, because you can see here it actually is pretty nice. Same for gamepad. So it's all about the render target and where we're looking, so that'll be another thing to figure out. But that'll be this week. Also this week I'll probably continue playing, what was the game I played yesterday? Something Isles and Sea? I can't remember it. It's a block pushing game. It was gifted to me by a friend, so probably want to continue playing that. It's a fun puzzle game. But that is going to be it for today. Thanks for all who tuned in, learning some coding and some debugging. I'll be here every day around 10 to 11 for about 2 hours, Monday through Friday. Also this Friday evening, I'm going to be continuing Ocarina of Time Archipelago, which is a type of randomizer where me and a friend are playing through it. Me and Saribi are playing through it together, as we each are playing our own version of Ocarina of Time and unlocking stuff in each of our games with a whole bunch of randomness, and it's crazy, it's fun. But as always, love you guys, Jesus loves you too. I will catch you next time. Peace.